Hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Blogging Lunchtime Bytes. And it's almost lunchtime here. It is lunchtime centrally, and on the East Coast, I guess it's past lunchtime. Oh, well, sorry, guys. This is a brand new series. We're starting all over from scratch. I'm your tech mentor, Arizona Lowe, and our IT master for this series. Yay, thank you so much for joining us, Bill.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I think this is going to be a blast. And our tech scholars this time is Ron Snayberger and Amanda Cote. Hi, Ron.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Amanda.
I'm doing good.
Hi.
So, we're going to start this time by, I'm going to do some screen sharing on how to join today's visions, and which is really simple, super simple, and then how to go ahead and start playing around in the back end a little bit, and you'll get to see what the back end looks like. And then we're going to talk about your niches. How do you actually define down, but figure out exactly what you're going to blog about. So I'm going to mute my camera. Bill, you got any good words to say about this while I turn my camera off and go over to screen sharing?
Sure. And we were chatting about this just a little bit ago. Years ago, I used to blog on a regular basis and sort of tell stories, whether they're fiction or just a daily journal of some kind, and it didn't seem to really go very far. And when I finally started realizing that what I was blogging, if I blogged about something that was important to me, that I found value in, that I would actually continue to do it. So, nowadays when I blog something, it's, whether it's a daily affirmation of some kind or it's a snippet of code that I can reuse and help somebody else out, that, I at least have it documented in a way that's easy to read. It becomes an archive and a library of all kinds of useful things, be it in the technical world or in the non-technical world. So that's sort of where I've gone with blogging.
Yeah, I mean, they say that you need to choose something that you know and love, something that you're really, really passionate about.
Right.
So you are actually blogging on several different subjects that you're passionate about?
Yeah. So, I like creative writing is one thing. So if I, think of an interesting phrase of words or a poem or an interesting story, I'll spend some time, cultivating that story and writing and rewriting it until I get it just right, and then I'll post it. And then on the technical side, I've been doing a lot of experimenting over the years with cloud-based technology and really digging into, containers and how to write efficient programming, and documenting my own stuff and sticking it in little text files in Word or whatever all over every different computer I have. It became really difficult to manage, so I thought, well, what's a greater place than a blog? It becomes my own library, and each post that I write, if I write something about one topic or another, if I tag it and categorize it carefully as I post things or even modify it later, it becomes an index of easy to access, neat stuff that I find interesting and useful to me. And through that, I get more relevant followers, more relevant people, commenting or resharing or just even viewing the stuff for a few minutes.
And I think that relevant and engaging. You can go for numbers if you want to, but numbers really isn't going to help your bottom line, in my opinion. You need to go for relevance and engagement.
Right. Yeah. It sometimes it can be if you're expecting to all of a sudden get a great big following of people and have ads that return lots of dividends for you. There's tons of ways you can go about that, but you can only do something like that for so long if it's not authentic and genuine and useful. If you don't find it useful, how can you possibly think it's going to be useful to somebody else?
Oh, exactly.
So, that's where I've gone with it.
I have a quick question, if I may. If you have all this stored on your blog, like a journal,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, "Oh, gee, I know I wrote about something going back 6 months ago."
Mm-hmm.
Can you just type in a few words of that, and it'll pull it up in the search, or?
Yeah, that's the beauty of having a blog that, each post that you make, you have the opportunity to tag, use metadata to identify that and easily pull it up in search. So if I tag and categorize the post, if I write a post about how to install and configure a 16-node geographically dispersed SQL cluster for Windows to support SharePoint 2007 or something, it's going to be long and complex, but if I tag it with a couple of things like clustering, SharePoint, database, and in relevant terms, I can find my own stuff, which is important because my old methods of doing things are on scrap papers all over my office and sticky notes and things, and it just gets to be a nightmare. Then my wife comes in here and she goes, "What the hell is going on? It looks like a Post-it note explosion happened."
That's my world right now.
Yeah.
So I want to change it. So I understand that part.
Yeah, and even with some of these posters, because some of them might have real private information, not necessarily, I wouldn't say blog your passwords and save them privately. I don't think that's a good idea. But some little things here and there can be pretty handy. You could even go as far as building a grocery list, and sticking it on a post that's reusable because you're buying the same stuff all the time anyway. So you can certainly do that.
I actually will start drafts on information and save it in draft mode.
Yep.
Because that's easily searchable too.
Now, what blog technology? Most people out here in the social sphere, I've run across most people liking WordPress. I've played around with WordPress quite a bit. I'm not as much of a tech whiz, I think, it is as Arizona is, but I've gone back and forth between a few things, and I've kind of landed on Blogger, and I kind of like it because of its simplicity and it suits my needs. If I were trying to set up an infrastructure that were maybe providing services to other folks out there, I might look at something a little more complex. I don't have a shopping cart. I'm not selling anything,
Well, our platform is WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
For this series, and pretty much that's what I try to work with, just because it allows me, WordPress has grown from being a simple blogging piece of software to being this great CMS.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know, a CMS is a content management system, which means you can run a total website, a shopping cart, forms, everything in the world on WordPress. Just about.
Yeah, there's not too much I've found that you can't do with WordPress. Occasionally you'll run into something like you mentioned to me the other day about connecting like the member to the type of subscription they might have for a service you're providing. But where there's a will, there's a way, and so that's where the fun begins when you're working with an open source piece of technology like WordPress. The community of developers out there that are constantly pumping out new and interesting, integration points for WordPress is just phenomenal. And I think it's the open source community that's really been able to make WordPress what it is.
Yeah, it is. And I've been to several WordPress camps, which is a blast to get together with a whole bunch of other WordPress gurus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do some shout outs here. We have David Pipe in the audience. He's saying good evening from Sussex. That's another HOA, or he had another HOA overran, and he's saying hi to William Rock.
Hi, Will Rock and
And Al Thomas is in the audience. Hey, Al, I noticed you signed up for the community, and do you want a website? Because I also noticed you didn't do that. So if you want a website, give me a holler, and I'll get it set up for you. Stan Bush is in. He says, hi, Bill Reed. He's still waiting for his OptiGrab. I have
Thank you, Stan.
no
I hope
idea.
you're getting better.
You guys know what an OptiGrab is?
I don't.
Okay. Go watch the movie The Jerk with Steve Martin.
Okay. And he's saying hi to Ron, and it looks like your new computer is in. And William Rock and Dave Pipe, he wants some popcorn.
Popcorn.
William Rock says, when I cannot find a post that I want to reshare, would be search G+ for keywords along with his name. That's a good solution.
Say that again? I wanted to see that comment again just real quick.
Okay. He says when he cannot find a post that he wants to reshare, would be search G+ for keywords along with his name. I guess he's saying he searches G+ for whatever keywords he used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works too. Especially, the way I'm doing things with Blogger, it's tightly integrated with Google+. So every time I do a post on Blogger, it also creates a post on Google+, which is handy.
And William
you
Rock
can configure it to do that.
Oh,
and so that brings your search stuff back through that.
Well, William Rock agrees with you. He thinks Blogger rocks. I need to check out Blogger as well.
You should, just to get to know what kind of cool features that are there, because there's equivalents across the board. So you might find something on Blogger that you like that you don't have in WordPress, but there might be a plugin that fulfills that need.
I will check it out for sure. So, okay, so we said that you need to define your niche, and you need to, in order to do that, you need to figure out what your passion is. And I'm hoping that most of you who are interested in blogging already know what your passion is. But if you don't, here's some questions. What are your hobbies? How do you spend your free time? Or what is a one topic that you could talk about for hours and hours with family or friends?
I mean, without annoying them to death and boring them with tech jargon?
Well, I mean, their passion may not be tech. Ron is motivational speaking and his engraving, and Amanda is all about parents, positive parenting. So, Amanda bores everyone to death with talking about her kids, and Ron just tries to keep everybody pumped up.
It's all good stuff.
It is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and screen share and tell everybody how they can sign up for today's Visions if they haven't yet. And go ahead and show the new template. I'm so excited about this new template. So this is today's Visions website. It's going to change any day. I'm working out one last plugin incompatibility, and I think Ron actually gave me the answer to that one today. Thank you, Ron.
I don't know that I did that, but you're welcome.
You can join. There's several places here to join. You can just click right here to get your free account, or you can click the Joining is Simple banner. And Amanda, I've already signed you up, and Ron, you already have yours going too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was rushing around early this morning getting that done. And I'm assuming if you're watching this and you're going to sign up for the Indie, that's where you get, that's got to go. That's where you get your free website. So I'm going to come up with a weird example. So we're going to call this example Aries. Your username has to be all lowercase and all one word. And then you put your email address in and your password. And you have a choice here to upload your avatar, or you can upload it in a separate place, and we're going to upload it in a separate place. And then you just click register your account.
So if I type in a username that doesn't fit the criteria, is this page right here smart enough to slap my wrist and make me fix it, or
Yes,
or
it
is that
is.
something? Oh, good. Okay, good.
Now, once you get to this point, you're going to get this Join Today's Visions page 2 or part 2. And it takes you to, you can go to a village bulletin board, which is available to all the members, or you can register your village address. So we're going to go ahead and register the village address. And that's, oops, we're just going to call this Aries. And you have to select a site category. Now, if it appears that you're not, your whatever your interest is, whatever your passion is, isn't covered in one of these site categories, just go ahead and click on Today's Visions and send me a message on what category you want created, and we will get it done. And then you hit Create Site. And for those of you who have been watching, who watched the last series, this is probably just boring you to death because we went through this then too.
I know I missed it.
I did
So this is interesting.
Now, the unfortunate thing about this is that I have to go in and manually make some changes. That's the problem that Bill was referring to. So here's what it looks like. Ick, ick, ick. We want to get rid of all this. So we're going to go to your site, which is there, and you go to your dashboard. And the dashboard is the area. I love this because if it ever gets there, uh-oh. Oh, I know what's going on. I have to make that change before we can go there.
Oh, from your super administrator.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we have things not talking. We have 2 plugins not talking to each other. It's giving me a headache. So I actually want to pop out of here and see if we have any questions so far. And go ahead and fix this. We have some more comments. William Rocks is laughing out loud. He bores many with geek stuff. I know I do. There's no doubt. And David Pipe is trying out Blogger. He has been since 2011. And he only has 1 entry.
That's okay. You know, I've had Blogger, you know, things sitting out there for years. I probably have 4 or 5 of them. But they're handy when, you know, you want to go try something out. And Google's always changing the feature set, you know, available for these things. So if you hadn't checked it out in a while, you know, it's good to check it out again.
What
What's the question?
What features do you think that Blogger has that WordPress doesn't?
and I don't know that WordPress doesn't have this, but the feature that I mentioned earlier, which was setting it up so that every time I post, that it automatically posts to my Google Plus account or my Google Plus page, is something that I'm not sure exists on WordPress, or if there's a plugin. I don't know about it. I just haven't looked. But
I'm sure there's a plugin, I'm sure, that will automatically transfer back. And I know there's plugins that allow you to put your Google Plus comments on your post, which I think is huge.
Yeah, that was a neat one. That who was it? That it was Yifat that showed me that one a month or a couple months ago, I think. It's I'd have to look it up. I don't have it in front of me, but there is a good plugin that allows you to, when you comment, you can comment using your Google Plus profile or your Facebook profile, and there's a couple others that are in there. I'll look it up while we're fiddling around in here.
Okay. I'm going to go back to my screen share again because I have this all set up now. So when you go back to your back end, and this is what you see. Hopefully, the smush it notice is going to go away. I don't know if this is truth about Yahoo just continuing smush it. Have you heard anything about that, Bill?
What is smush it? I don't really know what it does. What is it?
Smush it is a wonderful plugin that actually reduces the size of your images so that they take up less space.
Cool.
Yeah, and if Yahoo
maybe you can help me with this at some point. My dad's an avid archivist, and he's got tons of these high-resolution scans of school newspapers from the 50s, and they're huge. But he'd like to have them display, but not take forever to load or take up valuable space that he's paying for. Can you reference files like that from, say, Google Drive or Dropbox or any of these?
I'll have to research. I think you can from Dropbox for sure.
I would think there should be something that allows you to do that.
Yeah. So I'll research into that and let you know. Storage space is becoming a huge thing right now. So when you go into your back end, first off, I'm going to suggest that you go to Activate Easy Mode if it's not already there, because that reduces this clutter on the side and just gives you links to those things that you really, really need. And you have to activate this plugin. This is a Pizzazz WP Libraries plugin that is required for... I hate this, and it will not allow me to dismiss it. Anyway, the plugin allows for the new template we're going to work for. So one of the things that I ask if you take up my offer for a free website on Today's Visions is that you retweet or repost one thing from the website. It can be anything. I don't care. If you're an artist, you may feel comfortable retweeting another artist, or you may want to retweet a leadership. It doesn't really matter. It may be one of mine, and it may be Debbie Ferrant's. The easy way to do this is to go back into your dashboard and just take a look at see what new stuff is up, and you can actually follow certain sites. There's a little heart up in the dashboard when you're on the front end, and you just hit the heart and follow certain sites, and then you just see what you're following. And if I wanted to retweet this or leave a comment on it, I would go here, and let's share this on Google+. Great article.
Well, that's good advice. That's an incentive to, I guess, help other folks' stuff get shared out there a little wider.
Well, and that was the original concept of Today's Visions, was to help people get promoted better. because I run into, especially on Twitter, I run into people who do nothing but tweet their own things, and you end up blurring them out. You just don't pay attention to anything. So if you tweet things that you're interested in, and then I would say maybe my ratio has always been 4 tweets for somebody else, 1 tweet for my stuff.
Oh, that's good.
And it works. That's just, so this makes it really easy to add a new comment or to tweet or whatever. And we can just exit out of there and see the rest of the new articles that are up. So, are there any questions thus far?
No, I don't have any questions. It's just that I'm going to have to rewatch this to get it planted in my brain.
What are you going to have to plant in your brain?
Oh, this is, like I told you before, this is all new to me, so I just have to take it one step at a time and go through it one step at a time, and then I'll remember it.
Yep.
That's the beauty of YouTube, isn't it?
Yes, you can rewatch it. Yeah.
Anybody can learn anything.
That's true. It is so true. I am so grateful for that too. William Rock has a good question that I can't answer. What about security of WordPress versus Google Blogger?
That is a good question. I think when you're initially getting your WordPress site set up, it's real important to have somebody who knows and understands security, and because it doesn't have an SSL certificate or not, it can be a security hole, but it might not be, depending on what you're doing with your site. I'd say if you're running an e-commerce section, you definitely want to have an SSL certificate properly purchased and signed, so it's valid.
Or you want to run through something like PayPal.
Right. So have your transactions from a third, happening through a third party. But it's compared to Blogger. I mean, it's hard to beat Blogger, the security behind Blogger, because it's completely managed and maintained by Google. It runs in all of the Google data centers, and the Google data centers, there's some great white papers out there on the Google system security plan. There's public ones. There are other white papers out there that are not public, that you have to actually go to a facility to read through and actually understand, but you're not allowed to take them with you. In my personal opinion, just because, if you're just right side by side, I'd say Blogger is probably more secure, but it doesn't mean that WordPress can't be configured and made to be just as secure. So
okay.
Sometimes I think consulting an IT security person might be handy, or if you're presenting content that you might be concerned about.
Yeah, I think so too. Bill Graham says, "Hey everyone, sorry I'm late. We'll watch your replay, but wanted to wish me a happy birthday." Thank you, Bill. Okay, so my tech scholars, you don't have any questions on where we're at now?
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna have to rewatch it and go through the steps too. So I'm slow when it comes to computers, and there's so much that I want to do. So this is so helpful to me to be able to learn step by step instead of getting too much information at one time. So this was very helpful.
Well, I believe in taking things in baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Lee Britton, yay, I'm so glad you joined. He's the one who introduced me to the theme we're going to be using, which is Headway. So thank you, Terry. The most important thing about using WordPress or any other is that you want to have an excellent username and password choices. Admin is definitely a no-no, as is password 123, or all kinds of God. I heard a lot of people use God.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if any, your security is only as good as your credentials that let you in. So if you've got weak passwords, easy to guess passwords, it can be a security risk. Enabling things like two-factor to allow you to get into your system with a second factor. And what that is, I go to Google for my Gmail. I log in username, password, hit the go button. Next thing that pops up is a thing saying, please look at your phone to get the Google Authenticator code. Or if you're not doing that, you can configure your two-factor to send you a text message with a one-time code to get you in. That second factor can improve your security tremendously. So if anybody hasn't done that already, with their own Gmail accounts or any other web-provided accounts, look into two-factor authentication
Yeah.
and get that set up. It's actually a lot easier than you think it is. It sounds complicated, maybe because it's an unusual word that people haven't put together before, but it is very easy to do, and a lot of banks require you to do it now too.
Oh, they've been requiring that for years.
Right. So the banking system, and I worked for like 15 years in the banking industry a decade or so ago, and it was a huge deal. They're the ones who really helped, I guess, solidify or pioneer that multi-factor authentication to protect against identity theft and breaking into systems they shouldn't be into.
Bill Graham says, I know what you're saying, Ron Snayberger. Prior to a few months ago, I had no computer skills, so I'm trying to learn everything at once, from terms, programs, right down to the basics like typing. Love being able to watch replays 2, 3, or even 10 times if necessary. And Catherine says, big shout out to everybody. So hi, Catherine, and thank you for the birthday wish. Okay, so do y'all want to come see what the template is? I'm going to do a screen share and share the template real quick, and then we're going to end the show, if y'all are okay with that.
Sure.
So we're going to go, the very first thing that you need to do is go to Manage Themes. And you'll see that we now have 2 themes in here. Last session, we only had this one. Now we're going to go ahead and activate the headway theme. And I'm going to warn y'all, the headway theme is a little bit more involved to use. So go ahead, and your homework for this week is to read through this. These 4 things. But what we're going to do now, if it'll do it, we have to exit easy mode. Sorry, guys. I shouldn't have had you. So don't go into easy mode, because we need to be able to access the headway thing. And we go to getting started.
I have a quick question in general. So if I have my own WordPress site that's not wrapped in here, is that particular theme available as any theme with all the other themes, or is that part of this package here?
It's part of this package. You can go and buy it from Headway, but it was a premium theme.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, if that's what you're asking. So then within Headway there are templates that you can use. If you want a particular template installed, like I can go out here. This is one of the things I don't particularly care, because I have several templates that I can share, but I have to go into every individual account to share them. so it's not really set up for network. But what I'm going to ask you to do is do a blank template. Now I'm working on the Aries, so I'm going to call this Aries. And you're going to start your own blank template, and that's what we're going to work in. And it's going to have nothing in it. And then we're going to go to the visual editor. And I'm showing this to you because we're going to get into this really big next week. But I want y'all to be able to play around with it some. So you have these, you can import any one of these empty presets. So I'm going to go with this one and click Finish. And it automatically sets up a header, a navigation, and a content block. And we're currently editing the blog index. And this is going to come up very important further on in the series. So I could go in here, right-click, open block options, and it shows me the header block. And here's where I can choose my header image and upload an image. So that should, and then always click Save. So that should get y'all to where you can at least start playing around and maneuvering things around. You can just move things around and explore. And that's the fun of the site, is that I fully anticipate everyone to be exploring and trying new things, and this is an area where it's very safe for you to try new things. And that's the end of that.
Oh no, we hit the infinity window.
Pardon?
It's when you're screen sharing, and then when you flip back to your screen to turn it off, you know, that shows yourself to everybody else. It shows that infinity mirror kind of look. I love that. I think it's hilarious.
I do too.
I was watching what was it, some ghost hunting kind of silliness show on, I don't know, whatever it was, TV, and these guys had constructed a two-way mirror with, I don't know, some LEDs, calling it like their ghost trap or something. I thought, oh boy, that's interesting.
That is.
I don't know if it, you know, it's TV. Who knows?
I guess Terry Lee Britton found a plugin that allows for two-factor authorization. So
is this the I was actually, what, I can't see the rest of the URL. Is that the, what is it? Because I'm about to share something. The settings security app passwords.
It's the URL, so see where it breaks off, is search two-factor authentication WordPress plugins.
Yep. So yeah, Dave Pipe actually had a comment out here I saw a little bit ago about being there's a glitch with the Google two-factor when you're using an email client like Thunderbird, and with that application you're downloading your mail and synchronizing over IMAP, which is not the same as when you're accessing your mail on the line, and that's typically used when you're authenticating with that. It's authenticating with a username password. There's a section in your security setting that allows you to set up an app, what's called an app password. And I'm going to share that link over here. And anybody, so if you have a setup where you have multiple accounts, you can actually create it's a application-specific password, the ASPs for Google. So if you have two-factor on and you want to use Thunderbird or something for your mail, you can use these things to use this thing to create an application-specific password, and it's self-generated, and you only have to copy paste it in once, and because you're never going to remember all those characters. That's why it's designed that way. But I'll share the link out here in the comments in a couple seconds.
Okay. Let's see. And William Rock also shared out in comments another great plugin for WordPress to secure the site. So thank you for that, William.
Oh, good one. I'm gonna take a
Um,
look at that too.
Next week, we're going to actually work on designing the header, which means we're going to get into graphics. Now, I always try to do an online graphics editor so that you don't have to download anything and you don't have to, um, purchase Photoshop or something like that. The three choices that we have for this week at Canva or for this series is Canva, PicMonkey, or we can go back to PhotoFlexer. Do y'all have any? My rathers is I want to explore Canva because I haven't explored it very much. I love PhotoFlexer though.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about Canva too. I've played around with it a little bit, but I haven't had a big need for it myself, or at least I haven't found what would I use it for. How do I fit something like that into my niche, or anybody else's niche?
I kind of would like to explore Canva myself too. I heard so much about it and how easy it is to do things in it and with their templates, and I think that would be a good choice.
I did. Cool. That's wonderful. Amanda, are you okay with exploring Canva?
To be totally honest, I have no idea what any of that is.
It's for creating headers and images with text on them and things like that.
Okay, yes, definitely. I'm sorry.
Okay, so
It's like creating posters. That's the way I look at it. Like if you wanted to create a concert poster and have some neat graphics around it, and it's
Oh, that's awesome.
it's really pretty. There's some really pretty things that you can do with it. I just haven't figured out quite what I would do with it for me.
I know that I became aware of it on Tom Coleman's show because he mentioned it in reference to creating Facebook. I mean, they have all the sizes already there. You just click a template and you get the perfect image size for Facebook. Click another template, you get the perfect image size for Twitter, which is wonderful to have all that. So,
right, that is cool. Because that's
They
one thing I'm
also
always goofing with, is trying to figure out those dimensions.
right.
They also have templates for book covers, and they have some free photos, or they have photos that you can purchase. So it's a lot of neat stuff from what I saw.
Okay, so we're in agreement. Next week we're going to explore Canva. We're going to design our headers for the show or for our websites. And y'all are going to do your reading on Headway, right?
Yes.
Yay!
We'll do some exploring.
Pardon?
I said we'll do some exploring.
There you go. Play. I mean, there's nothing you can break. So play. That's the fun of it.
You don't know me very well.
Well, if you break it, you know I'm available.
Don't give Ron super admin. Worst you can do is delete your own site, probably.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy in the last week that had a new computer and accidentally probably downloaded some type of Trojan or virus that HP had to go in and reset the whole computer to factory specs for me yesterday. So.
Wow. Okay, so also joining us next week is going to be, we're going to have 5 people on the panel because William Rock is going to join us next week and give us his perspective on narrowing down from, okay, so by next week you're going to have your niche. You're going to know what you want to blog about. Now we're going to narrow that down into topics. And that is what William Rock is going to talk to us about. So each session that we have is going to explore one part of the technical, and then also we're going to talk about the non-technical stuff involved in blogging. So, and I'm going to pull experts in this whole series.
Cool.
Well, that's good because I'm sure not.
I'm there with you.
Hey, well, and I plan to pick the brain of Bill Reed and William Rock and anyone else that I can grab little nuggets of information. It's so much fun to always learn something new every day.
For sure.
Let's see, Amanda, you want to say some last minute words? Tell everyone about your show and whatever else you got going on, and where
I should.
people can find you.
Mhm. I have my own show, and I think we just had our third week. It's called Positive Single Parenting, but we are working on changing the name, and it's going to be Today's Positive Parents, I believe. We
Mm-hmm.
had kind of a couple names that we were throwing around, so I was actually announced the wrong name yesterday on the show. Anyway, it's just a show. It's really directed for all parents and for all of us to come together and learn from each other. And so we pick different topics and things to discuss each week. And this next week we're going to discuss kids and electronics, and we're going to have a debate on that. So that I think will be really interesting. We have two different opinions, and we're going to, of course, get the audience involved. As far as where you can find me, I'm really not good on a computer, so she'll have to answer that. Only on Google Plus, I think, or Facebook.
Well, your new website is going to be curated, and I'm going to get the first couple of blog posts set up for you, and then that's where people are going to be able to find you. It's going to be on the site. Cool. Ron, our second tech scholar.
Oh, well, you can find me on Google Plus. That's mainly where I spend my time. I'm on Facebook, but I don't spend a lot of time there. I have an account on Instagram, but I haven't posted any photos there. But I love Google Plus, and I seem to find the people like me there and like what I say or reshare, and that's where I'm at. So you want to find Ron Snayberger, get a Google Plus account.
Bill, you got any last minute words?
Be good or be good at it.
And if you can't be good, don't get caught.
Yes, don't get caught.
What is your blog address?
What's that?
What's your blog address? Where can I find you?
I forgot. I should be prepared for that kind of a question. The edge of the cloud.blogger.com, I think.
Okay. I'm going to go hunt you down.
It's somewhere on the event thing. I think you actually put the link on there.
I'm sure I did. I tried to find links to everybody.
Yeah, and it's just a personal blog. It's not a professional thing. So, if there's a typo, deal with it.
Sir. I want to thank everybody for watching. We had a great audience today. We had really good participation. Thank you. And if you haven't signed up for today's Visions, you can get a free website there and follow along with the teachings. So go out to todaysvisions.com, get your free website. And we will see you later. We're going to end with Teddy Lee Britton. If you can't be good, be great. That's what I say.
That's better.
Y'all have a good day.
Yeah, that's a good one, Terry.
Bye, y'all.